I thought I was doing everything right. Running a martial arts academy, teaching mindset, staying active, but deep down, I was exhausted, burned out, and I was losing myself. It took me hitting many walls, realizing I wasn't healthy, and I was running on empty. In this video, I'm going to share with you the hidden signs, how I got to breaking point, the tools I used to turn around, and then what changed. And I hope you can use these to prevent this happening for yourselves. So the first thing to share with you was the hidden signs. And the thing with signs is, when we look back on hindsight, we can clearly see them. So there's lessons to be learned from them. With the signs that were coming up for myself, I just kept pushing through. And whereas that can be okay for certain things, when you keep pushing through day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, it starts to take a toll, not just on your mental health, your body, your main health, they're all connected. So especially if your mental health's not right, you start to notice that on your body as well. You start to feel more tired, you maybe start feeling a bit more withdrawn. So I kept pushing through constant fatigue. I remember at times it felt like I was on a boat. I was almost vertigo, it felt dizzy, but just kept going on. I just thought, if I can just get through this. And often, sometimes, yes, I could get through it and things would be okay, but other times there'd be something else that would come up. And the thing with challenges is, it's important that when you're going through them, that you do still make time for yourself. It's really important that we have a good balance of our mind, body, soul, and spirit. So I was constantly on, and I was ignoring all the emotional and physical signs that beginning to tell. I felt young still, so I didn't need to worry about it, or that's what I thought. In fact, it got to a point where I actually felt guilty for resting. It was almost like I shouldn't be doing this, and that's not right. You do need to have time to rest. You got to relax. You got to have time for yourself as well as the people that are around you. And one of the worst parts about it, being a personal development and martial arts coach, I was teaching this and I was feeling almost like a fraud because I was trying so desperately to hold myself together at that time. In fact, I think I went through a phase where in my teaching, I kind of held off from the personal development mindset. It didn't feel right to be talking about it, but actually, as I realize now, had I spoke about it, I would probably been teaching myself at the same time, and I would allow myself, you know what, it's okay to take a rest, it's okay to take a break, and these things will all work out. So it actually felt like I was living maybe 1 or 2, 3 lives. It was like a split personality. On the mats, teaching martial arts, I had to appear as strong and confident. You know, people were looking up to me, children, adults. So I guess the lesson from this is you can't heal if you're always performing or you're always on the go. And you may feel that, well, I don't have anything to heal for. Well, generally we do, because we've got life experiences, life happens. So there's always something we're having to work with. So it is important that we take that time for ourselves, have a break. Yes, we might have something that you've got to get through it, get it done. But then you're going to be on to the next thing and you're going to have to get through it and get it done. I'm only talking from my own experience. So what I've learned is that I just need to take that little step back and allow things just to happen. I've still got to put the work in, of course, but I'm a little bit more relaxed of how certain deadlines, need to be hit. Make that time for you to have that time out. Make sure you have time to rest. Make sure you have time then to plan. Otherwise, if you're constantly on the go, you're just going from one position to another position, always constantly having to pivot. And there's going to be times to pivot, but if you've got a plan, you can certainly see that through and that'll get you to the end in mind. So when I finally hit breaking point, and I gotta say, probably hit breaking point a few times, there was definitely some clear signs. One I've already mentioned, that I started to feel a little bit dizzy, a bit nauseous. It was a really strange sensation. I think at the time I knew I was tired, and again, I just pushed through, I was on to the next thing. I'm working hard to make something work, which yes, it did work, but did I need to be like hustle constantly on it? Probably not in hindsight. The other things that started to take a toll is that because I've been keeping a lot of my emotions in, how I was feeling, that was really starting to impact me and those around me. I clearly wasn't happy. And as this went on, I started to become more anxious, I became depressed. I was just really not in a very good space. I felt like I had a breakdown at one point. I had a lot of emotions going for me. I'd be feeling down 1 minute, next minute I'll be up, and the next minute I'll be feeling down again. It was literally like a roller coaster. I remember driving my car back from a business event and I was screaming in the car. It was just not a great place to have been. And still I kept on going until eventually I just felt like I couldn't anymore. I was starting to have thoughts about suicide. I'd often just sleep throughout the day because I was just so emotionally and physically exhausted. So I knew something had to change. So I slowly started to make those changes. The biggest thing I had to work on first was myself. Everything starts from the inside out. Feeling not right about something is generally coming from something that is within us. Now, I've just turned 50. 10 years ago, turning 40, probably should have been one of the happiest times of my life. It was horrendous. I would do everything I could to try and lift my spirits up, but it just felt like I couldn't seem to shift whatever it was that was going on. So it has been a long uphill battle, and sometimes I feel like I'm moving forward only to have a few steps back. Some things will start to work out, whereas other things just didn't seem to work out at all and just be stuck where they were. So what are the lessons? What did I do? Well, the first thing I started to do was set some boundaries for myself. They were crucial for me to not be people pleasing anymore. And I still want to give from an open heart. I'm just a bit more mindful about it, and I say no a lot more often than when I would have said yes, because often those times I was saying yes, I couldn't really give fully, and it was just exhausting me more. I started creating new goals, and I've always been quite goal driven, goal orientated. By setting those goals within alignment of myself and my soul, it meant there was no pressure. The pressure was taken away. I wasn't there for anybody else. I was there for me and driving myself forward. And those that are along for the journey, happy days. Forgiveness. This is something that's very important. So I had to forgive myself, first of all, for the way I was feeling, for how that was affecting me, how that may have reflected onto others. It was important for me to forgive myself and not feel guilty about taking rest or taking a step back or not being where I wanted to be at a certain point in my life. And forgiveness of others. I wouldn't say I've ever held a grudge. We've all had instances where we just feel like we've been wronged. Often those people probably feel wronged as well. I do truly believe people are generally quite good, but sometimes make weird choices. And sometimes they can be choices based upon their own insecurities. We make our choices on our own insecurities from time to time. We're all guilty of that. I certainly am. So forgiveness is crucial because it allows you to move forward. And otherwise you're just thinking about the thing that's maybe upset you or hurt you or you feel wronged by it, and it doesn't allow you to move forward. And this is the whole point, is that when we move forward, we can grow. Meditation, this helped me a lot. So a few years back, there was a lot of pressures that had come back. I felt almost claustrophobic with it. I began doing meditation with a lot of support from Ange, and that really helped me just kind of shift my emotion and energy levels to a place of a bit more calmness. Otherwise I would have been focusing on fires that were happening and just a lot of stressful events. And these things are going to just keep coming up. We're always going to be faced with challenges. So meditation really helped me. It's good to have that calmness and still. And actually what happens is when I do my meditations, it sets me up very clear head. Other thing is I'm very mindful about what sort of media I'm consuming first thing. So in the ideal world is once I'm up, is not picking up the phone to check messages or what's on the news. I just want to settle first, allow myself to relax, and then into my meditation. That's made a big difference. I remember one of my habits was getting up, check my phone, have some breakfast, turn on the TV, watch the morning news. Kind of started to waken up a little bit that this is not serving me at all. This is really setting me up. I would just be feeding that energy right into me. It was never good. Affirmations. Started doing affirmations again around about the time I started my meditation and started to communicate much better to myself. So with affirmations, it's being more mindful about what I'm saying to myself in the morning, what I'm saying to myself in the afternoon, and what I'm saying to myself in the evening. Helps with the goals that I've set, where I want to be, and just keeping my alignment. They're really powerful. When we start telling ourselves what we already are, they have such a drive into where you're going to go in so many things, and they really have worked so much for me. Whether it's from a spiritual level or goal setting level, they push me in that direction, and I don't have that pressure of having to, I gotta blast out. And more recently, I gave up sugar. When I say gave up sugar, we took a big break from it. So now, if I have anything with sugar in, it's a conscious choice rather than an unconscious choice. So it'd be easy to pick out a snack or just have a food that containing sugar or the many E numbers or additives. I would just pick it, and that'd be it. Since doing this sugar-free experience, I'm so much more mindful now of what I'm consuming. I've lost weight, I feel better, I feel healthier. When I have something, it's a conscious choice, and I'm more mindful about how and when I do that. So each time I do it, I can see my mood is real dipping down. So that has definitely played an impact on, how I've been feeling over these last few years. So dropping it has made a big, big difference. It's great at the time we have this big dopamine hit, but later on, no, we don't feel so good. And we can not feel so good for a few days. So turn into these things that provided this short hit of comfort. Just got to bear in mind, there's going to be a downtime from that. There's going to be a dip, and that's the thing we need to manage. So each of those steps of self-care, it really felt like lighting a candle in the dark. It just light up, a bit more of my life, how I was feeling, and it shining shining a light through. I remember one of my mentors years ago said something along the lines, that light you see at the end of the tunnel, is it a light or is it a freight train heading right towards you? And I remember thinking, oh yeah, it's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel, because we really want to believe that, but there was a train coming my way. I guess I was fortunate to jump out the way just in time to start lighting some candles and see my way out of it. I still have my dips, I still have my moments, but I feel much, much, much more in control of that now, because that is life. There's always going to be a challenge that is going to come up. There's always something that's going to throw us off. But having this balance, whether it be setting the goals, affirmations, meditation, training, going sugar-free, these are all the things that really help keep me in check and keep me focused to where I need to go. I wouldn't have believed this 20 years ago, that how I was going to end up feeling, or I was going to go for this, because I was just constantly on it. I was full of energy, full of beans. Everything felt fine, and it's just 10 years later that had all changed. Now, I think this would have come to me a bit sooner based on the career I was in before I started martial arts as a career. So I think these feelings would have come much, much sooner, because I remember how unhappy I was in my previous career and how that was affecting me. Probably I would be quite overweight. I wouldn't be surprised at this stage of my life now. So those choices made a big, big difference. However, what I didn't do was look at what was happening, and I just wanted to be this physically, mentally strong person that see it through, even though I was probably kidding myself, oh, I'm not like that. As my life was going on, I became probably more reactive than what I would be, and probably keeping a lot of those things inside until it eventually came out. So what's changed? I still like taking risks. I'm more mindful about those risks that I take. As in business, I like to take a chance upon something, but a bit too many chances a few years back, and it's really cost me. They were chances based on fear coming out of the whole pandemic. But I'm glad I did it. I learned so much during that time. I don't react the way I used to. In fact, so I'm much more laid back. I still have my moments, because we're only human, but I try and keep that composure, that calm, take a breath back, maintaining the boundaries and keeping myself active. It helps and makes a big, big difference. Things that would have wound me up on a click of a finger many years ago, much more calmer about. I'm on a trip at the moment. I'm in the USA. It was a bit of a journey, which I won't go into, but I did laugh to myself on how long it took. It shouldn't have taken as long as it did, basically. I would have felt like the world was against me, basically, if many years back, whereas now I laughed and thought, okay, my guardian angel's looking after me, he's protecting me, there's something preventing from happening here. So when things happen that maybe don't feel like you're going away, don't worry, someone's looking after you from something far, far worse. At least that's the way I like to look at it. I embraced rest. I'm afraid to take a nap in the day and feel bad about it. Trying to make sure I manage my time so that we've got time for doing the things we want to do. I'm still working quite hardcore, I guess, but also from working extensively, it's given me time to do something else that I enjoy, which is creating content like this. I've reconnected with my purpose, but this time not from pressure, but through a sense of peace. And I think that's really important. I've embraced my spirituality, and it's given me a lot more clarity on who I am and where I want to go. who I want to be. So all these things, choosing to build from the inside out, is what changes everything. So if you're watching this and thinking that you can just push on through, stop. You don't have to wait until you're burnt out to make those changes. And if you are feeling burnt out right now, I'm really hoping that these tips or this experience that I've shared with you can shed some light on how you can get yourself out of burnout, one step at a time. But if we can prevent it, then that's even greater. So start with something small. Take a pause, take a breath in, stop what you're doing, get out of the house, go and have a walk. Doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, sunny, just get out. It all counts and it makes a big, big difference. Take a check upon yourself now. Is there anything within your body that is saying this needs to stop? Is there a feeling that you have within inside yourself that says this needs to stop? And let me know in the comments below if there's something that you feel you've got from today. And of course, to stay updated, don't forget, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.